Hi, and welcome to this quick tutorial video on how to use HAL's new audio morphing software, Morphosis. Let's jump right into it. Morphosis is a neural timbre matching tool. It works with a library of hundreds of models, including voices, sound effects, and instruments, and applies their tonal characteristics to any incoming audio. We'll be working with Pro Tools today using the AAX Audio Suite version. If you're working with any other DAW, you can use a standalone version, and we've got another video about that. Let's get morphing. Okay, so this is the piece of music we're going to be working on today. And I'm going to show you how to use Morphosis to change it up a little. Let's start working with the synth. So I'm just going to mute the vocals and bass and open up Morphosis. Working with the synth, we're going to just show you how the model selection panel works. Select a model and use Morphosis. Simply click the icon in the middle and you can browse. So this is where all the models installed on your computer are going to be. They might be installed on your computer, they might be installed on the hard drive. Whatever it is, what you want to do first is check in the info panel your path. This is where everything should be held. So let's choose a model, and this synth, I'm feeling something a little electric. So let's go to instruments, and I'm going to change it into an electric guitar. I'm just going to take away the auto button because we're not going to be working with that for the moment. Everything should be fine, just straight up electric guitar distortion. Let's listen how it sounds. Okay, I love it. I think I'm just going to add in something that's a little percussive as well. So let's actually duplicate the track again. Go back to the main source, and now I'm going to show you how you can create sort of a double model. So you want to click the plus button here, and this opens up a new window. I can put in a new model here, and then this is where I'm going to merge between the two models, or blend. Let's get something a little bit more percussive out of this. How about... I think a little vibraphone stick, and then we can listen to that and see how that sounds. You can preview by pressing here, of course. So if I take the blend down to here, it's going to be mostly the vibraphone. Up here is just going to be the guitar. So this is what we had earlier. I'm going to get a little closer to the vibraphone. Yeah, I think this works really nicely. Let's render that. Let's see how this sounds with the rest of the track. Okay, love it. I think we can move to something a little different. So now I'm going to talk about the enhance and mix knobs you have here. Let's just go back to something simple, unique model. Let's work with the drums for this. So we've got this drum loop. And what I like to do is to layer that in with something a little clicky, a little weird, maybe something organic, or in this instance, something from the real world. So let's duplicate that. And I've got the feeling, because I really like this one, I've got the feeling I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Computer keyboard. Okay, that sounds weird and clicky. So let's enhance it, get some of that high frequencies that we can lose with the morphing again. Love that. And I'm going to use the mix knob here just to check how it works with the original drums. Okay, I'm going to render that and keep it on a separate track so I can do a little bit of mixing later. Let's listen to how this new drum pattern sounds, first without and then with the additional computer keyboards. Okay, lovely and clicky. I feel like I need a bit of bass. Let's unmute the bass track and see how that sounds. Okay, I'm feeling like we need a bit of grumble in that bass, a little bit of raw distortion like we had on the synth with the electric guitar. Let's go to this, duplicate the bass part, and I'm feeling a little bit of synth bass, something like the brass raw. That could work. Let's play this and listen. Okay. Bit of brightness with enhance, but not too much. Just a little bit of mix, a little bit of extra color, that's all. Okay, let's do this. Okay, seems just a tad louder. Okay, so drum and bass without Morphosis and then with Morphosis. Okay, I think I can have the bass a little lower. Okay, so I've got my drum and bass part sounding great. I think I need a little extra. I'm going to transform my shaker into something else, and I'm going to use the color knob to show you how it works. The color knob emphasizes the processing in either the high end or the low end of the spectrum. So what that means is that it's going to look at the input signal and look at your model and say either to the right, so 0 to 100, let's look at the high frequencies and morph more of the high frequencies of the input with more of the high frequencies of the model, and same goes for the low end. So we've got this shaker right here. I'm just going to listen to it in solo. So what I'm feeling is that I'm missing a bit of a snare for this song. And I've got this shaker audio track, which sounds great. I just think it needs a bit more wham. So let's go to instruments, percussions. I can look for a snare. I've got it right here. And then let's listen to how that reacts with the shaker. Okay, so that already sounds quite nice. It's kind of creating snare ghost notes in between the hits I really want to hear. So I'm going to use color to emphasize the processing in the high frequency part of the spectrum. So I'm going to push color up high, and we're going to see how that sounds. Okay, so that's a lot clearer already. Let's process that. And now let's listen to that back with the rest of the drums. And without. And with. Okay, a lot better. Let's work on pitch now. And for that, I'm going to use the voice. The voice, we haven't heard that since the beginning of the video. Let's just unmute it right now and see how that sounds. Okay, so I can use the pitch knob now to transform Vincent's voice into both someone else's voice, and I'm going to use it to create harmonies. So for this, I think Claire has a wonderful voice for this sort of part. So let's go to English female, select Claire, make sure everything is where it should be. And for the pitch, let's create a simple harmony. So perfect fifth, 7 semitones. This should already sound great. Let's listen.
Bum bum ba da da. Bum 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 ba da da. Bum bum.
I can use the mix knob to make sure it works well together.
Bum bum ba da da. Bum bum ba da da. Bum 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 ba da da.
Okay, lovely. Let's render that out. And because it's a bit of a harmony track, I'm just going to get that gain down nice and low. Have it in the background. So Vincent and Claire together sounds like this.
Bum bum ba da da. Bum 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 ba da da.
Okay, so now that I've used Morphosis on a bit of everything, I'm just going to listen to the before and after.
Bum bum ba da da. Bum bum ba da da. Bum bum ba da da. Bum bum ba da da.
And of course, this is just one of thousands of directions I could have gone in. The library of models is huge and always growing, with tons of voices, instruments, and effects, ranging from, I don't know, you can have a cat purring all the way down to European Freya from Denmark. Going through, I don't know, a strat, that's what we use, but also a tenor saxophone. So whatever you want more or less is in here, and do whatever you want with your music. Just to round things up, we've got 3 toggles at the top of the interface I haven't talked about yet. The clean toggle is here to take away a bit of that background noise. So if you've got dialogue tracks or just voices with a bit too much of that, I don't know, low frequency hum or something you want to take out of, this makes sure that Morphosis isn't trying to transform those sounds you don't want into sounds you do want. So this is here. Variability is more or less 2 flavors of how it works. Generally speaking, we would recommend using the A mode for anything that's got to do with voices and the B mode for anything else, so music or sound effects. But as you've seen, I've just used the A mode during the whole of this video and everything sounds lovely, so it's more pick and choose and see what sounds best to your ears. The last toggle we have is the iteration toggle. So this is more or less like rendering 3 times or 2 times in a row the same settings. The idea is that once you've transformed your input into something closer to the model once, maybe transforming it into that model again will sound closer to what you are imagining. It can get deeper, it can get a little more complex. What you should know is that it doesn't affect the pitch. So if once you've set your pitch to something you like, whether it's higher or lower, creating harmonies or just making sure everything sounds in tune, the iteration will re-render but not push your pitch again. Okay, that was the AAX version of Morphosis. Now go out there and have fun. Let's start morphing.
Bum bum ba da